What's up, horror fans? It's Danny from the Lassercast, joined as always by my Ghostface shirt wearing partner, Pete, over there. And there's a chance that we might have another OG member of the Lassercast join us. Chris might show up. We've sent him the link. If he doesn't, well, we still love him anyway. We're here this afternoon because the Scream 6 trailer dropped. And I saw it this morning and I have some thoughts. Pete has not watched it yet, so we're going to watch it together with you and we're going to talk about it. We're going to give our thoughts and you can let us know what you think about this upcoming trailer. And if you like our trailer stuff, you can go and watch our trailer review of Evil Dead Rise, where we were joined by Brian and Mike Mangiorno from Pop Culture Manchild or Pop Culture Manchildren. And Pete and I just did a marathon recording of our top 10 of 2022. That is going to be out very soon. You should like this video. You should subscribe to our channel so that you can watch that. And without further ado, Pete, whenever you're ready, let's watch the Scream 6 trailer.
All right, here we go. Dropping now. Oh, there we go. Oh, it helped if it had some volume. Okay, hold on. Let me start that shit from the beginning. Sorry, people that are watching.
You got a problem here, guy?
Okay. Damn. Oh. Okay.
Ghostface with a shotgun.
Yeah, that's new, right? We haven't seen that. This feels different already.
I love this. I love this, and I'll explain more when the trailer's over. But I really love this.
I had this secret. There's a darkness inside of me.
I don't like that.
Here. And it's gonna keep coming for us. We share a certain history.
Kirby Reed.
This isn't like any other Ghostface.
What is this place?
A shrine. We've got to lure him in. We execute him.
Huh. Okay.
Hello.
Let's play a game.
You know you're like the 10th guy to try this, right? It never works out for the dipshit in the mask.
Oh, whoa.
Maybe. But
I love. That's a great scene.
We said there's never been a what?
I'm something.
There's never been a guy like me. There's never been one like
That's
me,
why
Gail.
I'm gonna shoot you in the head.
Oh.
You want me. So let's finish this.
Guys?
Uh-oh.
I love
Hey, Freddy.
Freddy Krueger, Pinhead.
Pinhead. Yeah.
There's a Jason back there.
Is that it?
I
All
think
right.
so.
Wow.
And do you remember that beautiful sound from when you lived in New York of the subway train door closing?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Chris just said he'll be on in 2 minutes. So
Perfect.
when he
All right, let's get this
jumps
party
on,
going.
we'll get his thoughts.
Yes.
So
I had a couple
first
of questions.
I was going to say, first thing, what's your reaction to seeing Ghostface with a shotgun?
I mean, he definitely seems different. The movie itself seems different from other Screams, too. I had a couple of questions about this one. Is this supposed to be part of, like, a new trilogy of movies? Like, is it going to be that there's going to be another one after this, too?
Here's the thing. It's a horror franchise. So it's like, Halloween 2018 was originally meant to be a standalone movie, and it just happened to make hundreds of millions of dollars at the box office to the point where they were like, oh, what we meant was it's a trilogy now. And I think it was very obvious to anybody who watched Halloween Kills and Halloween Ends that they were not part of the original vision of that first 2018 movie. So I think kind of the same thing happened last year. Scream 5, which is just called Scream, made so much money that they just instinctively greenlit a sequel, and they were able to basically make it right away. I mean, then again, the fact that this was made so soon after, like this is releasing 14 months after the previous one, does kind of make me think that they had this idea. I mean, it's made by the same writers. It's the Radio Silence crew. Hey!
Just like
What is
just
this,
like
2020?
just like Dottie Henson, I've returned to the Peaches.
Welcome back, Chris.
It's like
Can you tell-
2020 all over again.
Can you tell Chris doesn't watch sports? He's throwing in a League of Their Own reference.
There we go. Time for us to talk about Bly Manor.
Oh, oh, was that a Saturday to remember?
Oh yeah, Chris and I talked about The Haunting of Bly Manor for about 6 hours straight.
Oh,
I remember I had to edit that.
you, you handsome people. How the hell are you?
Doing well, man.
Good. So,
Go ahead.
so yeah, I was just gonna say we just played the trailer. You've seen it, right?
Yes, I have. I actually recorded I'm having some camera issues. I recorded a trailer reaction earlier. It's just something small. I was working. I was on the road. So, I mean, I'm happy to jump in wherever you guys already are.
We basically just watched the trailer and we were talking about the different feel of this one as compared to Scream 5 from last year.
Yeah, definitely. Totally different. New York feels like New York, unlike Jason Takes Manhattan.
Well,
feels
we don't
like-
know. We don't know.
Well-
Everything in that trailer could be just 10 minutes of the movie, and most of it could take place on a cruise ship from Woodsboro.
Yeah, no, I listen. My money's worth of this film is completely in on just Ghostface kicking a boom box across Times Square, and worth the price of admission.
Yeah.
My first reaction, and I posted this on Facebook earlier, and I shared the trailer, was it looks so different, and I'm so into how different it looks, because I think my initial reaction to Scream 5 was, oh man, I really liked it. And then I watched it again with Charlotte, and my reaction the second time was, okay, yeah, no, I liked it. And then I saw it a third time, and I was like, yeah, I'm going to stop rewatching this movie because it's very quickly becoming like The Rise of Skywalker, where every time I watch it, it gets worse and worse and worse. So I'm like, let me not watch Scream 5 anymore, because every time I watch it, what I love about this movie, about this trailer, if you guys remember in Scream 5, they play the clips of Rian Johnson's Stab 8. And there are parts of this that feel like it's Rian Johnson's Stab 8. Like, Ghostface with a shotgun. Somebody having a Batman-esque Batcave of Ghostface costumes.
Yeah.
Like, there's so much of this that feels so bizarrely different to anything else that we've seen in this franchise. And I love that about the trailer. I really do.
There's some franchises, right, where you want more of the same. You want it to be this thing. Maybe you don't get sequels that often, or you just love that world. It's time to step out of Woodsboro.
Yeah.
It's time.
And that is the exact thought I had the second and third time I watched Scream 5, where I was like, really liked it. And then, okay, you know what? There's too much sameness to this.
Yeah.
And I get that, like, it was the first sequel in 10 years, and Scream 4 was the first sequel in a bunch of years before that. But now it's only been, like I was just saying to Pete, it's 14 months between Scream 5 coming out in January of 22 and this movie coming out in March of 23.
Yeah.
You can't just do the same thing again. And Ghostface Takes Manhattan is a pretty great angle to take it in.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, now, Danny, you mentioned, I'm sorry, Pete, if I'm going to make Pete repeat, but Pete, you mentioned how you felt about Scream 5 to this point. Me personally, I'll be honest, I've seen it once, and I mean, I don't think there's a bad film in this franchise, but for me, Scream 5 is the worst. But this is also a franchise where you could line up 10 people, ask them, and aside from one being in the number one spot, they're all going to have a different ranking.
Yeah.
So, Pete, where did 5 land for you?
That's a really great question. Like you said that this 5 is the worst for you. I would say that 3 is the worst for me.
See, 5 knocked out 3 for me.
Okay, right. Well, why?
It's weird. I believe me, I don't have any, like, I don't look back on 3 and say, like, I was wrong about this, but I do look back on 3 with some charm and some playfulness that I didn't get from 5. And I can look back at 3 now and be like, man, they really, like, not a lot. Most of this doesn't land, but man, they swung for the fences, basically pulling like a, I was going to say a Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. Meanwhile, Jay and Silent Bob are in
the movie.
They're actually in the movie. But I mean, it's crazy that it's you watch 3 and you're like, yeah, not a lot of this works, but it's very ballsy in terms of, like, this is, like, it's so meta.
Yeah.
And, and even 4, I think I feel like people look back fondly on 4 now. 4 has become my second favorite in the franchise. But it's also, 3 is also one of those films where, if you told me 2 was your worst, I'd be like, I don't agree. If you said 4 was your worst, I'd be like, I don't agree. If you said 3 is the worst, I'm like, yes, I agree. I was there for a long time.
Yeah.
But 5 to me just feels like it just, I mean, I couldn't connect. I'm like, have I hit that age where I can't connect with anyone on screen in this?
Yeah.
The other problem I had with 5, and I think if my ranking real quick is 4 and 2 are basically neck and neck for second place for me. 1, obviously, 2 and 4, it depends which one I watch. It's like if I watch 4, I'm like, oh, that's my number 2. If I watch part 2, I'm like, no, that's my number 2.
Yeah.
5 is probably 4th on my list, and then 3 is probably still at the bottom, but barely.
Yeah.
And I agree with you, Chris. I don't, even part 3 being at the bottom, it's kind of like, in a way, it's kind of like the Child's Play franchise, where part 3 is at the bottom of my list, but I don't think it's a bad movie. It's a fun little 90-minute, Army versus Chucky slasher.
Yeah.
My biggest problem with part 5 was I basically called the ending, like, almost at the beginning. Like, I knew, I think Amber was her name. Spoilers for Scream 5 if you haven't watched it a year ago.
I don't even remember her name.
Yeah, I think, like, the best friend. I was right away. I was like, I'm the best friend is definitely one of the killers. And then I remember getting angry that she was too tiny to kill people. And then I was like, oh, it's probably the boyfriend too. That's going to be like the twist at the end. And then I was like, wow.
Come on, wait. Come on. 2022, straight white guy, has to be. Has to be. That's it. That's come
Chris,
on.
do you want to talk about Velma?
All right, guys, I'll see you later.
Well, no, listen. I always said, I probably said it here talking to you guys at one point. It's a you're not enjoying something when you start logic nitpicking it.
Yeah.
And a lot of us did that with Scream 5 when we're like, this girl is 4 foot tall,
and she's taking down David Arquette.
And it's like, clearly you go back and watch that scene. It's like, well, if it's her, she's wearing lifts because, Jack Quaid is in that scene as his character, So, but again, this is something, if we were having a good time, we'd be like, who cares?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To get back to this. I was just going to say, to get back to this trailer, I think that's why I liked it so much, because I didn't get the been there, done that vibe that I kind of felt. It's like, in the last movie, like, the characters felt like, I mean, if you go back and watch the original Scream, like they're trying to sell you Drew Barrymore as a high school student in 1996.
Yeah.
Like, like this was a little girl in E.T. in 1982. It's 25 years later. She's not a high school student. Come on. Like,
Yeah.
these characters already looked so much older. So I like the fact that they're, getting away from this hometown that has been the center of this like murder spree for 20 years. And they're going on a vacation or whatever, or they're in college or whatever the reason is going to be for them to be in New York. I just like that they, like you said, get them out of Woodsboro, put them somewhere else, have Ghostface look slightly different and act slightly different. And, Pete and I talked about this in our best of 2022. I know that the Terrifier movies are not for everybody, but there's a moment in the first Terrifier movie where who you think is the final girl has like Art the Clown down, and you're like, oh wow, she's gonna like, this is where she like fights back. And Art the Clown pulls out a fucking gun and shoots her. And I remember going, that's fucking great. Like, you never see slasher killers do that. And just seeing Ghostface with a shotgun was hilarious to me. I fucking love that.
Yeah.
And like somebody on Twitter was like, Ghostface would never do that. I'm like, have you watched the movies? Because at the end of every movie, when they take the costume off, they are always pointing a gun at somebody. Like Billy Loomis is pointing a gun at somebody.
But how much does it speak to the need of, I didn't realize that they had released an image a couple months ago of him with the shotgun. I didn't even know. I'm kind of glad
I had no idea of that.
Because it was a nice surprise during the trailer, right? I was like happy to not know, but it speaks volumes, that people are excited about Ghostface with a shotgun. That it speaks volumes that we're ready for something different. I mean, for me, 5 was, I'm like, I thought I loved being in Woodsboro. And by the end of 5, I'm like, let's get the hell out of this town.
Yeah.
Like, because now we're doing the same thing. I mean, I was gonna say to Brian earlier, Brian was like, oh, I didn't get a chance to see Scream 5. I'd be like, oh, did you see 1? Just imagine it in 2022. Like, what, it's like, I'd be like, you could jump in on this. Like, you really didn't miss much. But I mean, one thing that I love, I mean, as someone who's championed 4 pretty hard the last few years, revisiting it 4 or 5 years ago and being like, I think this is my second favorite in the franchise. I love seeing people kind of come back to that when they didn't find something they loved in 5. They went back to 4 and they're like, no, this is the one. Like, Wes Craven directed this, another Scream film that was 10 years ahead of its time in terms of streaming and social media fame. You want to go back and watch 4 now, and you're like, this was 11 years ago, and it's so relevant.
Speaking of part 4, we could talk about the return of Kirby Reed, Hayden,
the cheerleader.
Yes, the cheerleader, Hayden Panettiere.
Okay,
I have gotten her last name wrong for 20 years, but yes.
Wouldn't it be great if one of us was like, yeah, Nashville, woo! Like,
I mean, she was easily my favorite character in part 4.
Yes.
And she's been a character that many people have demanded to come back. So with the absence of Sidney in this movie, the first movie in the franchise without Sidney Prescott, to bring Kirby back, I think is a huge get for the franchise.
And I'm not sure if you saw, but Ted Gagan, who directed fantastic, another movie I still champion to this day, We Are Still Here. Fantastic indie horror movie. That's probably, it's got to be 7-8 years old at this point. He had said, like, not nasty in any way. He's just like, Twitter, tell me about Kirby. Because I don't get it. Why is everyone so excited? Let me know about Kirby. And it was just kind of filled with a lot of love for Scream 4 and a lot of love for that character. And throughout the comments, he's just like, yeah, okay, all right, I get it now. I got to go back and watch it. And I even put in my 2 cents. I'm like, dude, for my money, Scream 4 has got one of the best third acts since the original.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk a lot about Scream 4 because I know we're talking about the trailer, but it's just, any chance I get, I'm like, go back and watch Scream 4.
Yeah.
No, I agree. And I love Kirby. I'm glad she's back in this. The other scene, and I mentioned it earlier, the other scene that really stuck out to me in the trailer was whatever this Bat Cave scene is, because one of the things that makes the Scream franchise so unique is that it is meta. They are making movies about the Scream franchise in the Scream franchise.
Yeah.
Brandon, go ring the bell. Thank you.
Brandon,
my
meatloaf.
food came. I told Pete I ordered food. But like, yeah, like the Scream franchise is meta. They've made the Stab movies. They're up to Stab 8, according to the last movie, which means that we could just be into an area where it's not one of the cast members. It's not one of the friends. It's just some random people who are Stab fans who just basically, almost like the end of the Batman this year, where really at the end of the Batman, and like there is no final fight with the Riddler. Like the final fight is with these like Reddit users who follow the Riddler.
It's fun.
Right?
It's so funny you mentioned that, because when I saw the bat, like the Ghostface Batcave, it reminded me of like a Matt Reeves Batman Riddler, like it was like a cross between the Matt Reeves Batman Batcave and like the Matt Reeves Riddler apartment. Like that's what the Ghostface cave reminded me of.
I don't know. Something about that scene just made me excited. You guys talk. I'm gonna go get my food.
All right. Yeah. Well, one thing that stood out to me, because I only just watched it just now, right before you came on, was that, you know, it seems pretty clear that Gale Weathers is going to get killed, you know, unless there's misdirection. I know that, like, in the Scream 5, they seemed to, like, you know, Jenna Ortega was doing the Drew Barrymore role and that she was going to be the first girl to die. And then it's like, oh, there's misdirection. She lives. With this, maybe Gale will live. I kind of feel like Gale will die. Every time that a Scream movie comes out, it's a commentary on a different type of horror, like occurrence, right? Scream is essentially just about slashers. Scream 2 is about sequels. Scream 3 is about a trilogy. Scream 4 is about reboots. And then now we're in this era of, they call it requels in Scream 5. And then, you know, we kind of refer to them as like legacy sequels. And I feel like Gale being taken out, it reminds me a lot of the Disney Star Wars movies, because you have Dewey die in Scream 5. Most likely Gale's going to die in this one. Maybe they'll tease, you know, Sydney's going to be in the next one. I don't know. I don't know if they're going to just kill Nev Campbell off Scream. Oh, look at that little Freudian slip there.
Yeah.
But, I thought that Nev Campbell was going to be in this movie. I thought that they did answer her demands and that she was going to be in this too.
No, they didn't. I mean, it's that we can only speculate, right? But you know, it's funny you mentioned Gale. It's like, as I was thinking about this today, and I'm like, if this character were played by anyone that wasn't Courtney Cox, I feel like this feels like a character, and I love Gale. There's a lot of great moments with Gale, but this feels like the kind of character that by this point would have overstayed their welcome in a franchise like this.
I've seen people today on Twitter being like, they better not kill Gale. I'm like, really?
I'm like, haven't you had enough?
Scream 2. Like, like if she didn't survive the first one, I would have been fine. I will forever argue that Dewey should have died in Scream 2 and Randy should have lived, and they should have reversed those deaths, and Randy should have at least stayed around for a while. I mean, to the point where they've realized their mistake so much that they put Randy's niece and nephew in the movie, and they are basically exactly like him, especially the niece character. She's like basically Randy Jr., and it's like, all right, we fucked up. We killed a character that the fans really like. So now we'll just replace them with somebody else.
I always felt like Gale should have died in Scream 3. She should have been shot by Ghostface. And when he shoots her, he says, bangs.
Yeah.
Oh man.
End the video now. End the video. Stop the count.
Come on.
Yeah.
Well,
I would have actually preferred. My favorite part of Scream 3 is Parker Posey. So if they would have killed Gale off and let Parker Posey live instead, again, I would have been totally fine there.
I like that.
Parker Posey, Patrick Warburton. What a cast! I mean, I could have even used a little more, especially at that time, Jenny McCarthy in that film because she had a obviously it's Jenny McCarthy, and she always had a really great funny bone. Like she could have actually. I remember being bummed. Like this is like prime time for Jenny McCarthy. Like she could have brought a lot to this film. I even love her in bit stuff like Basketball and Scary Movie 3. She's got that great opening scene in Scary Movie 3 with Pamela Anderson. The ring spoof is terrific. 3's got a great cast, but very quickly, Danny, I think 2 is still your second favorite, right?
2 and 4, they're like right there.
Pete, where are you at on second favorite Scream?
Yeah, I mean, my ranking just overall is 1, 2, 4, 5, 3.
I think that's how. I think 1, 2, and 3, 1, 2, and 4 in a top 3,
right,
is a big overall consensus you're going to get.
Right.
But I do love. You ever see somebody rank them and they're just like in the number 1 spot? It's like 2, and you're like, whoa, It's like some people. Yeah. I think 2 is great. What kills 2 for me, and I know that's on me. It just bugs me. I can't stand the cafeteria sing along.
Oh,
I can't. It's like a brick wall when I'm watching them.
I'll tell you, rewatching them, and I rewatched all of them with Charlotte before we saw Scream 5. One thing that I never picked up on in Scream 2. First of all, I'm the biggest Timothy Olyphant fan that I know.
Oh yeah,
and I've never watched Justified. I'm that big. I love Timothy Olyphant, and I loved him, and I loved his interactions with Randy in the classroom. He is essentially absent from the movie for the last 45 minutes. Yeah. And then he just pulls off the mask and he's like, I'm Ghostface. And you're like, wait, who are you again? Oh, what's your name? Mickey? Oh, I remember you from like 25 scenes ago. Like, he's just not in the movie enough to like be a good Ghostface for me. Whereas Scream 4, like you said, Chris, I love the reveals at the end. Obvious as one of them might have been, I think they had the best logic for being the killers since the original. Mm-hmm. Which is why I kind of want them to take this a step further. And I want them to, in this movie, I kind of want the reveal of Ghostface to be some like nondescript character that we've never met before. Like, completely separated from, it's almost like Dark Helmet. Like I'm your father's cousin's uncle's former roommate. Yeah. And that's why I put on this mask, followed you to New York and murdered everybody. Like, or maybe I'm just an obsessed fan of the movies. I've seen Stab way too many times and I'm a fucking crazy person. And me and my friends decided to put on the masks and, devote our energy to building an underground Scream lair. Yeah,
I mean, it's probably the New York in us, but I'm like, Ghostface in a bodega. I'm okay with this. I'm okay with this.
Yeah, I also I love the line delivery of when Gail's on the phone, and she's like, "There's that like 10 guys have done this before," and he goes something to the effect of, "None of them have ever been like me." Yeah. So maybe that's
a great shot too, by the way. I love a lot of the camera work in this trailer. I'm loving the look of this film.
Yeah. I was telling Pete, I love the poster art. The poster art's been fantastic. They've really channeled the Jason. The best part of Jason Takes Manhattan was the poster art.
Although the new poster they released today, I'm like, there's way too many fucking heads on this thing. It's kind of like, they're really knocking the shit out of the Quantumania poster. Yeah. And I'm like, this one was a little thrown together. Like, but the Scream ones, I'm like, Jesus H. Christ, a lot of people on this poster.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Samara Weaving is in this one, huh?
Yes.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah. And she's she works with those directors. She was in Ready or Not. And somebody on the train, if you saw the original teaser, there's somebody on the train dressed as the bride from Ready or Not,
That's great.
which is a
Oh yeah, I saw Freddy and I saw the Babadook also.
Freddy the Babadook.
Pinhead.
There's a Jason all the way in the background. There's a
Oh, cool.
Pinhead, and there's a wolf that kind of looks like the American Werewolf in London mask.
Yeah.
So yeah, that scene is going to be like Easter egg heaven for like horror movie fans. Like Screen Rant is already plotting the 20 things you missed in the Scream trailer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, you know,
so
I-
the people- behind the scenes, you got Matt Bednelly Olpin is the director. He directed the last one, and then Tyler Gillette, who wrote it, but he wrote the last one too, and then he also did Ready or Not, just like you said, Danny, too.
Yeah, they're called Radio Silence. That's like their group, and they like Ready or Not got them Scream, and then it made so much money that here, Scream 2 is Scream 2, Scream 6. I guess that's what I get for them calling Scream 5 Scream.
Yeah.
Five Cream. No, but
Scream Forum.
You know what I'm looking, just as like a horror fan and like the just the social media interaction and just getting together and talking about it. What I'm looking forward to at Scream 6 is the fact that part of this is being taken out of a big element that it's normally in. So as fans, and we all came in at the same time, and people have come in at different times, but as fans, as the collective, it kind of puts us all on a more even playing field. We love this franchise, but we're now out of familiar territory. So it's kind of like anything goes.
Mhm.
Whereas we all watch Halloween Ends and we have feelings about these characters, and we have feelings about Haddonfield, and we have feelings about how these people should be acting by this point in time. I lived 10 minutes. I'm gonna bitch about Halloween Ends very quickly, but let's say It's like I lived 10 minutes from the Amityville Horror House. It's 40 years later. No one cares. No. I apologize if that's cold. Nobody. It was 40 years ago. No one cares.
And they're making movies with the word Amityville in it that are like Amityville Shark House, Amityville in space. They're like there's nothing even resembling that franchise anymore. It's just like a word in the public domain that gets added onto a movie title for like the effect. And I agree with you that like one of the biggest problems with Halloween Ends for me was Laurie's entire attitude towards everything. And and I don't buy into this conceit that apparently David Gordon Green had of like we need to see how much Michael Myers has affected Haddonfield. In the original fucking movie, he kills 3 people.
Well,
in Haddonfield.
It's very simple with Halloween Kills and Halloween Ends. You just have to swap how the characters are acting in each film. How they act in Ends would have been perfect for how they should have acted in Kills, and how they're acting in Kills would have been perfect for Ends.
Yeah.
But but back to the Scream 6 trailer. It sounds like I'm on board with you guys. I think we were all like, I watched this and I was like, all right, like I'm in. I'm ready to go. Like I'm excited by this.
Yeah.
I don't even think I was excited by the trailer for 5. This gets me excited.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to be a great spring when March and April we're taking 2 franchises that are notorious for being in specific locations. You have Scream, Woodsboro, you have Evil Dead, A Cabin in the Woods, and you're putting them in the big fucking city and doing something completely different. And I love that. It's one of the reasons why, even though I will not ever say that they are great movies, I respect Rob Zombie's Halloween movies a lot for doing something fucking different. For giving us 40 minutes of young Michael Myers talking and living in the, Rob Zombie House of Filth. And that's not for everybody. And I totally get it, but I will always say I'd rather watch the first half of Rob Zombie's Halloween than the second half, because the second half is like a carbon copy remake of the first.
Yeah. And then hold that thought for one sec, Danny. I got my kid here. I want you guys to keep talking, though. I'm going to actually bow out because I got to go be with my kid. When when you're done, just hit exit studio and I'll end the video. But y'all keep going because I want Chris on here because it's really good to have you back on here, man.
Thanks, man. It's good. It's good
I'm
to be
bowing
back.
out, but you guys keep talking Scream.
Okay. Oh my God.
man.
No, I know.
Yeah,
I was gonna say, I'm like, do you have dinner waiting?
Wait. Oh, but before I go
Oh.
though, just remember this isn't being edited. This is going out live. So
No, I was
you
gonna
know,
say,
just
well, does Danny have dinner waiting? Like,
Listen, we could wrap this up. I got dinner. I gotta help Brandon take out a piece of furniture. So yeah, we could wrap
no,
things
that's
up.
fine. Listen,
Dude,
it
it's
was
good
it
to
was
see you.
thank you guys for having me back on. We're all excited by this, which is great. It's always a fun day in horror fandom when we can all watch something and be like, hell yeah, let's go. I'm ready.
Yeah. And let's Chris is the king of the 30 to 60-second review. Nobody does it better. From the Days of Stardust to your YouTube channel, Future Boy Reviews. Nobody does the short review better than you.
Thanks, man.
You managed to say everything that I have to say about a movie in 30 seconds. That takes me 25 minutes on a fucking video. So I love you. Good to see you.
I
Welcome
love
back
you
to the
too.
Lasercast.
I love both you guys. I love what you guys have been doing on the channel. I watch
Thank
it
you.
all the time. It's keep it going. Hopefully, I'll pop in here from time to time when I can.
Yeah,
Any chance I get to talk to you guys, I love it.
Anytime. And for everybody else, our top 10 of 2022, which is probably the longest video we ever recorded. It was long. Oh my! I made a joke that it was so long that you could have watched Skinamarink. But yeah,
I haven't seen it yet. I'm looking forward to watching it.
Yeah, Chris, you're Chris. Pete is editing that video. It's going to be up very soon. Top 10 of 2022. And yeah, tell us what you think of the Scream 6 trailer. Chris, great to see you, and
Good
we
to
will
see you
talk to
too.
you very soon.